Let's talk about speakers bureaus. Here's the interesting thing, the rule of thumb. Most speakers bureaus don't want a speaker when the speaker really needs him. Most speakers bureaus really have zero interest in helping a speaker to grow their career. Most speaker bureaus want speakers when the speaker doesn't need them. Most speaker bureaus will see you'll create attention when you start taking away business. What I mean by that is the speaker bureau account executives or the small bureau owners are calling associations, calling corporations, trying to sell their speakers. But when it happens that you're doing the same thing and you're getting the bookings and the speaker bureau speaker that they're representing doesn't get the booking, that's when the speaker bureaus start to pay attention and to start to care about who you are. So with that in mind, let's get into some basics about speaker bureaus. Now, one of the first things that people tend to ask me is, where do I find speaker bureaus? Well, I'm going to share the screen real quick here, and I'm going to take you to their website. This is iasbweb.org, International Association of Speakers Bureaus. Now, as you look on the website, you'll see one of the tabs says members. Well, that, needless to say, is a little bit about their members. And then on the tab, there's find a member. Well, if you click on the find a member, as you can see, there's you can search by the name, you can search by the location, you can search by the specialties. I'm not going to recommend a particular speaker bureau for you or to you. There are some very good ones out there, and there are some that maybe are not quite as good. The reason I showed you the International Association of Speakers Bureaus, their website, is because to belong to that group, they have to meet the Code of Ethics. And one of the important aspects of Code of Ethics is to have an escrow account. And the reason I'm not going to recommend a particular speakers bureau is because over time that changes who's good. I've seen in my career quite a number of really good speaker bureaus, unfortunately, go belly up. People that were highly respected, that were doing very well for various reasons, went out of business, owing speakers quite a bit of money. So the thing is that what speaker bureaus should be doing with your money, meaning speaker fees, they take usually a percent, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But after they take that percent, all the rest of the money, that's your money, and they should be holding that in an escrow account. It shouldn't be in their general operating fund. And so that is a huge issue when you're going to look at bureaus. Some of the things that we have to talk about with bureaus are, as I said, do they, number one, do they have an escrow account? Are they putting your money in their general account or in an escrow account? Another thing to consider with speaker bureaus is commissions. What commissions do they charge? Generally, today they're in the 30%. Years ago it was 25, but today it's generally about 30%. Then we've got the issue of fee integrity. So, the hard thing I think for speakers today is you've got to play this one of two ways. Speaker bureaus want you to charge one fee, period, end of discussion, nothing else to talk about. And then that way they can say to their clients, it costs the same to hire this speaker, whether you go direct or whether you go through a bureau. Well, If you, like many speakers of today, are very flexible with fees, have got a fee for this, a fee for that, got all kinds of different things, that's not exactly where the speaker bureaus want to be. So that's a challenge. Also, with speaker bureaus, there's a real interesting dynamic of who does the client belong to? You go speak for ABC Company or ABC Association. Well, the speaker bureau consider it's their client, and they consider it's their client in perpetuity. But then what about spinoff business? They consider that any spinoff business should go to them, but sometimes maybe 5 or 10 years down the road, somebody heard you at one of these events and you don't know, and you book the thing. So that's a problem. The corporations like speaker bureaus, and the associations like speaker bureaus because the bureau will give them a selection of speakers and a fee range. The association or the bureau, the client, considers that the speakers have been filtered. They select the speaker, multiple speakers for their event. The speaker bureau does all the work, takes care of all the contracts, this, that, and the other, and it's done. It makes their life very, very easy. They don't have to look around. And a lot of clients like the speaker bureau because if something happens with travel and there's some kind of a problem, or if the speaker gets sick, it becomes the bureau's responsibility to take care of the replacement. And they can usually do that because they've got speakers all over. So in looking at that, these are some of the ups and downs. Now, how do you get a speaker bureau to pay attention to you? If you're a member of the National Speakers Association, you automatically get a profile in eSpeakers. And that profile in eSpeakers, speaker bureaus can pick up. A lot of speaker bureaus pick it up. And you maybe don't even know that they've picked up your profile. Another thing a lot of speaker bureaus do is they pay for Google searches for various speakers' names. If you look up your name on Google and all of a sudden you see your name come up with a bureau website first, that means that bureau is paying for your name for Google search. A lot of speakers think that's unethical, but that's the way it goes. So that's something to consider. I will tell you sincerely, in my 30 plus years, I've had a complicated relationship with speaker bureaus. I like them and I don't like them. It's nice when they bring business that I would have never gotten and they do all the work. That's great. That's great. That's wonderful. I mean, who wouldn't like it? Who wouldn't be happy to pay 30% for that? But all the drama that goes around that, sometimes it becomes a debate. Is it worth it? Is it really worth it? So in my estimation, a good bureau has your materials. Let me back up. In my estimation, if you've done a good job and you've produced really, really good materials, you've got a very good demo video or sizzle reel, whatever you want to call it. You've got a great website. Years ago, they used to like to have speaker bureau friendly websites where there's no nothing that can contact you. I think that day is gone. Thank gosh. We used to have 2 websites. But I think that if you do a good job of creating interest for yourself in the marketplace, you have a good video, you communicate with bureaus, and really the way you're probably going to get the best action, and it may not even be with the owner. It's probably going to be with an agent, one of their reps. And when one of the reps at a speaker bureau, a larger one, when you catch their attention and they start booking you, then other agents realize it and you get their attention, and other bureaus realize it and you get their attention. So the thing that that you got to kind of keep in mind with speaker bureaus is, if they meet you today and they look at your material today, whoever you are today is who, in their mind, you will be forever. They don't tend to have the ability to meet a speaker and then 5 years later see the speaker as somebody different, somebody maybe even improved. So that's something that you want to be careful of. Also, another thing you want to be careful of with speaker bureaus is there are, and I want to be careful how I put this, but there are lesser bureaus that make their money off of speakers, not off of speaker commissions. What I mean is they're really not out there doing a great job of selling speakers. They're doing a better job of talking to speakers and convincing speakers that they should pay X fee for viewing your materials. One of the things I'd say to you, if a speaker bureau says to you, well, we charge X to view your materials, I would recommend that you just say, no, thank you, because they're probably not spending their time out there selling speakers. They're probably spending their time making money viewing speaker material and convincing speakers to pay them. And that's probably their main revenue source. So I would advise you go the other way. And there's a big difference between speaker bureau and speaker agents. I'm not going to talk about speaker agents and speaker agency offices and speaker offices today, but understand that a speaker's bureau, a real speaker's bureau, is an organization that they make their money a percentage, usually around 25 to 30%, off of selling speakers. That's where they make their money. They place speakers at corporate and association events, and they make their money off that. Naturally, because if they're on commission, they're going to be the most interested in selling the highest price speaker. Their interest lies more in celebrity speakers, huge name speakers, political speakers, somebody new on the scene speakers that they can, if your fee is below $10,000, there's not a lot of bureaus out there that are going to pay attention to you. Now, there are a few bureaus that specialize in low fee speakers, and I'm sure that you'll find them if you look around, but that's not the norm. That's the aberration. But most of the bureaus, they want to work with speakers $10,000 and above, and let's face it, a lot of the bureaus are trying to get speakers to be on exclusive with them. That means that every bit of business goes through that bureau, regardless of how it came to you. And so that's something to be very careful of, because if you spend money to do marketing and PR and all this, and business comes to you, people contact you, you're obligated then to send that through the bureau and pay the bureau 30%. So the thing is, in the world of speakers, I would say when you're newer in the business, don't even worry about speaker bureaus. Their desires and who you are don't overlap well. As you progress in the business and start having great successes in booking yourself, around that $10,000 and above, well, then what's going to happen is, as I said earlier, the bureaus will have an interest in you when you start taking business away from them. When you're booking yourself at association or corporate meetings, and the bureau was competing also, and the bureau speaker didn't get it and you got it, that's when the bureaus are going to start to take notice, and because they're saying to themselves is, hey, this speaker is taking business from me. I need to get to know the speaker. I need to get this speaker in my corral because this person is taking money from me. So at that point, the bureaus are going to have a higher interest in you. So, I think that there's a lot to bureaus. And again, I would say, be very careful. Don't approach bureaus too early in your career. Make sure that you are completely clear on your positioning. If you're changing and changing and changing and honing and honing and honing, don't go to the bureaus. Get yourself totally clear on who you are, who your market is, how you go to market, what your topic is, and how you are unique, special, and different in the topic. That's called branding and positioning. have enough hours under your belt as a speaker to where you're very comfortable on the stage. You show up very well on your speaker reel. You have a really good reel. And if you're only doing breakout sessions and you're not doing main stage sessions, then it's going to be pretty hard to get a really good speaker reel, because the bureaus want to see you not standing on the floor in a breakout room. They want to see you standing on the stage in a general session room. And that's what they're looking for in the speaker. So, in the final analysis, be ready. Make sure you are ready. Make sure it's the right time. Make sure that when you work with bureaus, they have escrow accounts. Make sure that their commissions are reasonable. Be clear on the contract, because the speaker bureau is going to ask you to sign a contract. Read that contract very, very closely, because there's going to be things in that you may or may not agree with, and you're going to have to make a decision. And if you find a bureau or bureaus, if you find an agent or agents that really like who you are and what you're doing, lean into it, put energy. It should be a partnership between you and the bureau and or you and the agent. It shouldn't be an adversary relationship. It should be a partnership. So pick your bureaus well, be certain. And you know something, if you do that, I think that you'll be happy to give them their 30%. Back to you, Aidan.